Hey, here we go. Yeah, we're going. We're going. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. We're on. Trying it again. Even though I can't speak very well, I can't. I can't read. I just can't do it with it. So, anybody, let me start off with Roy and saying hello, boy, Roy.
Hello, how we all doing?
You're doing well. Go ahead, David.
Well, yesterday when I was out taking pictures, I came across 5 beavers side by each.
Woo.
They were that close together that they could fit in the back seat of Chuck's car. Yeah, that's how close they were together. I've never seen more than one beaver at a time before in my life, but to see 5 in Calgary, that was something. So
Yeah,
that's probably going to be the high point of my photography for the year. So now
good.
I quit.
Okay.
Okay, Gustavo.
Hi guys, how are you today? Nice to see you all here. So good, David. You applied yourself to the wildlife photography. Beavers are pretty interesting to photograph. So I think for today I have a small presentation later on with to discuss safety line, correct? Securing your camera to your tripod, securing the lens to. This is all based on something that we all should do. So, and we discussed a couple of weeks ago, but I put a presentation. So that's for later.
All right. Good. And how did Mister Randall?
I'm doing good. Even if it's a gloomy weather this past week, I still got out and got some photos taken. And there's the photo slideshow next week. It's next week, right? With
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah.
It's next month.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, time's going back by fast, and I'm going to have to sit down and do my taxes like everybody else.
Woo! Done that already.
Yep.
Ah,
It'll be starting. A Curry Studios just said he's asking about the uh, Ni- Ni- Nikon Z adapter, but you got to go ahead.
I haven't heard anything. No.
Somebody had mentioned it, but I hadn't heard anything yet.
Yeah, it was in the rumors, correct? For a
Yeah,
couple of weeks. That was like 2 months ago, but nothing had uh, nothing concrete yet. Maybe we get something.
yeah. Albert,
Albert is the master. If somebody will know, will be Albert, and Albert is in the uh, chat line.
yeah.
Maybe it's a thumbs up because there may be one. So, you know.
Hey, Art Bear. I'm glad you're good, doing well. That I should be, but I not. Yeah, something like that.
You know, Chuck, and now that you're talking here, welcoming Ted, uh, one thing occurred to me. Um, Yesterday, I received, and I can show it here, an email from B&H
Yeah,
that they are going to do that event in New York, correct?
yeah,
And and I haven't signed yet. I think Jeff Neville has signed before. I signed before, and you can follow online or you can be in person, correct?
yeah,
Uh, maybe, and I think it's in June. Maybe that would be a great thing for Ted and you and Albert to to visit again or to attend some of that presentation. So I will look for my email and then we can discuss it later. I can show the invite. I'm sure it's very easy to get an invite from that. Right?
Yeah, we'd have to do that. Yeah.
So Ted, that's for you, and Albert, that's for you. You guys that are in the uh, near New York area, they always put a good show with a lot of presentations. Uh, I think it was last year that that I think Jeff and I were very interested because they have uh, Art Wolf and they have also Franz Lanting, which is a very famous wildlife photographers, and
Yeah.
and I think the event lasts maybe last a couple of days. I think it's in the Jarvis Center. Exactly. So Teddy mentioned that.
Yeah.
You see it in the chat. It's called Built, which I understand is a Jewish word. It's June 17 and 18.
Yeah.
So anyway, but maybe you guys can do our correspondence.
It sounds, hey, real's good. We Ted, we need to probably put on the list, and we're going to be there.
Exactly.
I'll come in. Come in with you guys.
Exactly. You can drive, correct, and everything, Chuck.
Yeah. Mm,
Exactly. So and then you have an opportunity to meet in person with Albert and Ted, and I think it was Paul Connor, which we haven't seen for a while. That was there with you guys, correct? You,
uh,
but you were at BNH. This will be at the Jarvis Center. But
that's okay. We'll whoever you get to go, uh, Ted, just let's please let's try to put all together and make it come have it make it. We do it. Well, whatever. We need to be there.
That's very good. So, what do you guys want to talk first? Do we talk about Roy? Do you want to talk about your first-hand experience?
Not really. The power zoom's less impressive than I
Okay,
thought.
no, but spill the beans, please.
I'm not sure I
Spill
want
the
one either.
beans.
Well, I thought the front lens was going to be a dumb grip thing, but it's the focus lens, focus ring.
Okay.
It's a
So
little
we are
bit soft.
talking, guys. So you know, because Joy didn't do an introduction. We know Roy is very good at the chat, but sometimes don't do the introduction. So, if I understand correctly, Roy, you have an opportunity here to see in person the new Power Zoom 28 to 135
Might be because it's
pre-production.
pre-production, but seems a bit soft. But the power zoom, the main thing I like about it is I'm probably control it remotely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The difference between that and say a 24 to 120 is very little because it's just a switch.
Yeah.
Oops, my wife's in trouble.
All right.
Go ahead.
Got
And
to
we
go
come
for a
back.
sec.
All right.
Oh boy. Yeah. What do you? Mallory asked if anybody have seen Zen or Z Wade, and he's been putting out some videos. Now, I bought a 610, and he did a video of the 610, and then he did a comment to me saying, "Hey, it's a great camera. I enjoyed it." So he's still around. He wears his suits now. He has his beard. He was outside recently. What was it? Did he get the? I think,
Yeah, he was shooting outside in what he called cold.
right. What was the lens he was using? It was the old one, right?
No,
That mount?
it was. I think it was a 51 too.
Okay.
He had it on the Z52.
All right.
Yeah, and he wasn't dressed for the cold. And as I made, and my comment that I made was that you're probably waiting for me to make a comment about this, you know, because and like I can operate my cameras with my gloves on, and my gloves are not thin. And he was going bare hand, and then he was complaining about being cold, and then well he wasn't dressed properly either, but that's beside the point.
Mm.
You know, but I think the temperature was minus 15 or something like that on the foolish scale.
Everybody's uh, buying the thing for film.
Yes.
I have. I bought me a little Kodak negative reader and did the video. And then Lon's TV, you know how the YouTube algorithm works, came up and showed me a better presentation than the one that I gave.
Okay.
So I learned some things from his video. But what you do is you can take your negatives of your film, either black and white or color. You put it in a little slide, put it in this machine, make sure it has an SD card, and it will convert the film negatives, and you can change the brightness, do a little color stuff, whatever, and then save it as a JPEG file to the SD. And it can go up to about, I think, 24 gigabytes, or I mean,
Megabytes.
megapixels. So anyway, I'm still waiting for my film to come back from. It's been over. They said no more than 10 days. It's getting close to 10 days. So.
Okay.
So you mean to say it doesn't work if you don't have an SD card?
Right. Well, see, what it does is you need an SD card to convert the files onto the SD card, and then you just put the SD
files
card
onto it.
Yeah. So it'll take a picture. You can modify it a little bit, but what I usually do is you just take it, whatever pictures it has, and then you just put it in the software, and you can fix it there.
Because you develop it as a negative for printing, correct?
Right. So you still have to process the film. Once it's processed and you get the negatives, then you can convert them to digital.
Exactly. But there are companies that do that for you as well, correct?
Right. But you see, that's extra to cost.
Exactly.
So I bought this device for about $180, and all I need is the negatives, which will only cost me $10, to be processed.
And you scan them?
Yeah, and you just scan them.
Okay.
And you do the digitizing yourself.
Okay.
So I made a mistake. I've said, do everything. And so they're going to do it digitized for me also. But what I'm going to do is compare that on a video, what they've done, with the one that I'm going to do.
Well, that would be an interesting subject, because I don't know what film did you got, correct? But let's assume
it was 400 and 200 film.
I know, but but Roy, you correct me on here, because my film days, like Chuck's film days, are all in the last century, correct?
Yeah.
So remember, if you buy Kodak, correct? Kodak Color, the processing for that was called C41, if I recall correctly, right?
It is.
Now, if you buy other type of film, black and white, they all have their processing standards. So I don't know what you bought. So the question is, what you have is a C41 process film, correct?
Okay.
Because that, I don't know, it's like, for instance, I mentioned before, I used to take mostly slides, being a nature photography, correct? So processing processing slides, which I use Fuji Velvia or Kodak Fuji Velvia mostly, correct, or Ektachrome. This process is E6, correct. Now, Kodachrome has another process, correct, and you needed to send it to Kodak. You remember? Huh? Now, so E6 is the processing for that type of slide, but I don't do anything of this anymore. As I said, this is all in my memory bank. So Randall, for you, that's what I question is because what processing do you have now? Of course, when you got your strips of negative,
Okay, so the company is going to do that for me, and they'll give me 4 strips,
exactly.
for each. So I had 24 exposures, and it's 35 millimeter film.
Exactly.
And I have it in 400 from Kodak and also in 200.
Okay,
so I have a total of 48 pictures
so
that
you,
I've
you
sent
have a
off.
Kodak film.
Yeah.
So
So I have it's colored film. I have not used the black and white yet.
If I'm please guys in the chat, you know more about this or in the panel, correct me. If it's Kodak, probably C41, correct the process. So you get your negative. Now when you scan them, they need to be scanned, but they also need to be converted into a positive, correct? Because otherwise you and when I still have my scanner, but I haven't done scanning again long time ago, correct? The you if you scan a negative, you also need to convert. So I presume that software that you have, Randall, and that device can also do that, convert
Yes.
the negative into a positive.
Right. So here, I'll show it to you real quick. And let me get over here.
Sorry, Chuck, that we're talking film, but
Square.
Randall put us into that one.
No, it's okay.
Okay. So let me go here. All right. This is the device.
Oh,
Right
okay.
here.
It's a little scanner.
Like
Okay.
all the others.
Right. And
You plug it to your USB or
so you plug it in, you turn it on, and you get a screen.
oh yeah,
Now,
and it's made
you
by
can do the
Kodak.
film.
Okay.
There's some USB keyboard, gallery. You can set the time of day. I already did that.
Beautiful.
So what you do is you put this can also have an HDMI cable, which came with it, where you can hook up to a TV. So to watch,
Okay.
instead of on this 7-inch screen, or I mean this 5-inch screen, you can put it on a 4K TV or whatever TV that you have.
Right.
So the SD card goes in there, and the process is that if you do film,
Yes.
all right, you just say okay, and then it asks you 50 millimeter slide, color negative, or black and white negative. All right, and then you pick whatever you want. You press OK, and then you take the adapter with the film and you push it to the side, and then you can view it. The picture will show, and then you have like brightness right here and RGB colors, where you can change it to green, a little bit more red, whatever. You can do all that. All I'm going to do is just put it on the SD card. So this is like taking the picture.
Yeah.
If you do that, 35 millimeter film, say okay. And then when the slide goes in, you just center it, you press OK, and then it saves it to the SD card.
Okay.
That's how easy it is.
Randall. So in the chat, if you watch, we have the David, the drone weather photographer, right? He is a film expert, correct? Because he's a professional photographer that works in film, correct?
Yes.
So look what he's telling you. Too much work. Just let the
Hey, I'm going backwards.
Yeah,
so
just let the lab.
I started with digital. Now I'm going
should,
backwards.
he should film. I mean, David should film, right? He said, let the lab do the dirty work. So David,
So-
since you are in the since you are in the since you are in the chat, how much extra you pay when you ask them to digitize
okay, I just paid $40.
for develop and digitize?
Right. So
Right.
it will do digital. It'll give me the negatives, and it'll give me the photos.
Okay,
Now,
$40. Let's see.
they will rebate anything that, let's say, they can't get a picture of one of the exposures.
Okay,
Then they just take the money down,
Let-
which is a good thing. I like that.
Let's see from David if that is a good deal, right? Because he does this professionally. So let's use our professional network here to figure it out, right? Because
Well,
I tend to agree a little bit with and I don't shoot film, right? I tend to agree with David. Hey, by the way, guys, while we're waiting for David to answer in the chat, and maybe recommend a lab as well, right? Okay, here it is.
$8.
Yeah.
Exactly. You see?
Yeah.
So
Like personally, I would rather help David clean out the chicken coop than scan negatives.
Yeah.
that's
So
why he
let's see.
say, David, can you tell Randall what is the
Yeah. He already did that.
the lab?
Yeah, he's $18 per roll, and mine was like 20. All right, but it's also with digital. They'll do the digital. So
Exactly.
I gave them 48 rolls, or I mean 48 photos, or 224 film, and they charged me $20 each just for that process. So you buy the film for $10, and you spend
Okay.
$20 per roll
that
of
makes
film.
more sense.
That's
That
$30.
makes more sense. So
Yeah.
David is saying $18 per roll. You say $20 per roll.
Right, but that's if you don't. Now I'm paying extra because I'm doing digital. All right,
Well,
I
he
made
came
that mistake.
but he said that
Right.
he's doing it. They do it for him at $18. Also, develop and get.
Yeah,
And scan. Yeah, and they're 21 megapixel photos that are scans that he gets or images. Yeah.
And then you have it. Hey, Randall, you see that's what we're here to learn.
yeah. So I'm paying $2 more.
Well,
You must be living on California or New York.
Yeah, but you're paying $2 more, and then you have to pay for the digitizing. He gets everything for $18.
Well, no, $20. I'm paying $2 for the digital. If I didn't have the digital, it would have been $10.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So they
So I
don't
made that
even-
mistake. I clicked on the wrong one, or I would have had my photos back in 2 days with the film and just the negatives. So
Okay. Well, I don't know. My Randall, I will listen to the people that do this for a living. So,
well, okay. So look at it this way. I'm retired. I got time
that's true.
to kill, right?
Yeah.
It's just learning the process.
Yeah. Well, no, that is true.
I want to see what John Nishi has done in the past.
No.
And
No, that is absolutely true, Randall. Do it yourself, correct? It is a learning experience, correct? But once you learn it, because I remember when I used to scan my film, it's a pain in the neck getting all the dust, and then you scan it, and then there is a dust spot. It's a finicky job, correct?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, Gustavo, I always thought it was a pain somewhere lower down than that.
exactly.
well, you got to remember, when you get your 21 megapixel video or 14 or whatever you want to make it,
Mhm.
you can take it into software and you can remove all the dust or whatever that's on it. So also it came with a little brush if there's any dust that goes inside of it. So I got, it's just a learning experience, and I'm looking forward to it once I get my negatives. And of course, I'll do a video on it, on how I did it.
Well, I mean, the learning experience is good, but like we discussed with Chuck, like I used to change to develop my own E6 slide film. I did it so many times. I did it in Africa, correct? So I had to import all the material, correct? So I know how to do it. I don't want to do it anymore, ever.
Yeah, that's why I shot Kodachrome.
Exactly. Well, Kodachrome, you were stuck. You needed to send to Rochester, correct?
Yeah,
Or
well,
whatever.
yeah, we sent it to Toronto.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you know, I was happy with my Kodachrome because the film was fast enough.
Oh,
I
no, no, no.
missed that ASA 25 stuff, you know,
Yeah,
and
no,
I
no.
used to shoot it after dark.
Kodachrome was a fantastic film,
Oh, it was.
but it was it had that complexity, correct? If I were when I was in Africa, I needed to make a presentation or to look at my photos. I needed to be able to, and the chemicals for E6, which probably are pretty bad, but
Hmm.
they were easy to buy and to handle. It was, and of course, if you learn to how to get the thing out of the canister and in a closet or in a dry bag. I mean, Chuck, you did all that, correct? Changing film and all that stuff, correct? Field
Yep.
work.
Everything.
Mhm.
As long as it was just black and white,
Exactly.
it was all
Yeah.
film on the still on whatever. Yeah.
Yes. So Randall, so you have two things in the pipeline, correct? And you will do your videos
Yes.
for your channel and for here, correct? Where we can argue with you, correct? Then you have this little device to scan the film, so you can make sometimes about that, and then you have because now you shot film versus digital with the same lens, correct? Obviously, different
Right.
camera, correct? You want to see the comparison.
The
That
comparison.
that would be pretty interesting.
So I have the Nikon FM3A, and I also have the Canon AE1 program. So today I got an adapter that will fit a FD lens on a Canon RF mirrorless system cameras, either APS-C or full frame. And I did a video on that with the 50 millimeter f1.4. And yes, it's manual focus, but it was great. It was with a 1.4, the lens is so small that's what makes it worth carrying around. Instead of a bigger one that's usually on the Z, or I mean on mirrorless, whatever, I got a smaller 51.4 and it works fine. It was this one has the aperture ring and the old connection where there's a pin on the lens that matches the pin on the mount. So that way, the only thing is it didn't recognize the aperture, which is okay. But by messing around with the shutter speed, I got the right exposure. So if I went inside, I used like a 500 shutter speed. And if I went on the outside, it was 1,000. And the pictures looked awesome. So I put it on the Canon RF or R5 Mark II and on the R50 and compared the photos. And now I'm just waiting for the film to come back and then I can do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'll convert the pictures, what I took, and then I'll match them with that lens on the camera, which is the F mount, or the Canon, which is the FD mount, with both systems. And it'll give me about 2 or 3 videos. So
That's very good. So guys, we have that in in the pipeline when Mr. Randall has a chance to do that. So, Chuck, today was we apart from the thing that we discussed about safe lines and all that kind of stuff that I have for later. Uh,
Yeah.
we were having a theme for astrophotography, correct? And and I see there are some people in the chat that are interested to talk. I think Jim.
We'll ask them. They're welcome to bring it all up, but we'll entertain it as long as it may gets in.
Well, by the way, talking about astrophotography, correct? There is an opportunity here for us to, as a community, to do something. At least the ones us here that in the Americas. I think it's even in other parts of the Americas. But there is an upcoming. I don't know, David. Perhaps we can check online. But there is an upcoming um, lunar eclipse, right? I think it's mid March. I can check later on exactly the day,
Yeah.
right? And it's going to be visible here in the Americas, okay?
Well, I think you see it, but we don't.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I,
I checked the map, but they're coming, correct?
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think it's mid March, so maybe it's an opportunity if we're talking here about astrophotography to take the full moon when is in during the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's relatively easy to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, because your exposure for that, to make it simple, is set your shutter speed the same as your ISO. So if your ISO is 400, your shutter speed is 1/400, and your f-stop is f11.
And you can, and with the moon being so bright, even during the eclipse, you can check in your histogram, correct?
No,
No, your histogram will not be right for that.
I want to say
Okay.
something though.
Go
If
ahead.
you don't care, you can put F2 or F11. It doesn't matter because the time the you're talking about the moon and those bonds. It's going to be what 200 or 22. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only reason why I said that, Chuck, is that is a setting that works.
No.
It is that if it's the f11, if your ISO and your shutter speed are the same, that works all the time. Then you can adjust it from there, but you
All
got
right.
to have a starting point.
So let me add something real quick. We're talking about astrophotography, but we're not really talking a real astrophotography is just these what do you call that? Shot when things are wet, or
Like landscape astrophotography.
yeah.
And we have two people here that do it regularly. Obviously,
No,
David do it. David do it on with the Aurora, but I think Rakesh and Terry do it.
Yeah.
if they're getting, well, something like a big, whatever, you're fine. But even David doesn't do it. It's all because astrophotography is just the big things. God. Yeah. All right. I can't. I'm not trying to talk. So I'm. Let me
That's all right.
be awake. Be quiet for a minute.
Don't worry.
I know what I want. I can say, but I can't see it. But go, so go ahead.
Don't worry. No, come back. Come back when you're ready.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check here quickly the time for the eclipse. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, I can check it on even on my weather app here very quickly. So I presume that obviously being an eclipse has to be during full moon. So I think it's March 14. Okay. So before March 14, we will talk about it because again, I mean, David, that was a good discussion that you were having with Gim, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly,
Yeah.
because typically a lot of astrophotography, this landscape astrophotography that Chuck is talking about, these are done wide angle, correct?
Yeah.
Now the moon is the one that you will go with 800 millimeters, correct?
Yeah.
And probably if when I photograph that coming eclipse, I probably will be using the 800 millimeter with a time two converter, which is what
Yeah.
I did the last time, and it worked very well, correct?
Yeah.
So so that will be the issue here in the Americas, and I don't know exactly. I have to check for the path of the shadow, David, but it's whether and this will be the shadow of the Earth in the Moon, correct? Whether the shadow uh, uh, at what time is it in your own area, correct? Because I
Yeah.
think if I can see it, I will be really surprised that it will be very different for Calgary. The Earth makes a big shadow, correct? So it's not like the Moon that make a small shadow.
Yeah.
And I think we get it in the. I think David, in my case, we get it like early in the afternoon. I mean, I'm sorry, like after suns.
It's probably very close to sunset.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's easy to find that all that information. So they have a point to have that discussion the week before. So I don't know exactly what day is March 14th. I got a message here from Mr. Neville about he's following the discussions. Right? About but before we go there, because I see today we are a little bit all over the place, right? So
Yeah.
we have like three conversations in parallel. So so let's talk about going back to the film. So Jeff, tell me here, you send out 84 pics on film price without the sky is 0.64 or 54 cents each image for negative developing. 30 megapixel equivalent, scan and shipping costs both ways, which frequent sale prices could be 54 cents per image. Right? So that's what Jeff is saying. So he's paying per image, Randall. So you need, I mean, let's say at 50 cents, correct? It will be $20, correct? For well, 24. It will be $20 for 20, correct?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Did I make correct? No, 54 and around the 20. No, it will be $10. So he get it correct. So yeah. So Albert is saying that they reside in New York. Therefore, my chances of practicing astrophotography are rather slim because my night sky are ugly. Yeah, but that,
Oh,
that's
that light.
that's the thing, Albert. The moon. I think even in New York you can still see the moon.
I kind of hope they do. Maybe they're the guy down in Washington D.C. may abscond the moon and keep everybody from seeing it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that you're talking? The D850 convert negative camera?
Mm.
I didn't know that trick, Roy.
Yes, only JPEGs, but it saves a lot of work. The 850 is a lovely camera
Yes.
still, very useful.
By the way, so since we're talking here about Mr. Neville, okay, him and I have a little. He put an interesting video, guys. So I encourage you to go and watch it, okay, on that camera that his new acquisition, which is a half frame camera. It's in random. You comment as well. Uh, what is it called? Esco.
Yeah, Roy always goes like that.
Yes. But the interesting bit is that, and I think is that he did not only got the camera, he got the projector that goes with the camera. So I was trying, I was encouraged, Chuck, I was encouraged Jeff to shoot a roll of film and try out the projector. Okay?
Okay.
And so so we were discussing in his chat, right, back and forth, how to do that. Uh, how to because I say, well, even if you don't want to shoot it with the camera, do you have another half frame, half 35 millimeter camera that you can shoot some slide film, okay, and then project it, because that would be an interesting project, right? But it was a beautiful camera. Uh, uh, Jeff did an excellent job on, as usual, on Thank You for the Memories series, right? And he always had those gems that he find. But the projector was the one that blew me away. So I encourage you guys to do that. And by the way, so since we're talking about Mr. Devil here, um, so let's do a reminder. So Chuck, you can share
Yeah.
that, uh, guys. Next week is a photo review, right? So I exchanged some text with Jeff um, before. He told me that he has 59 images. I think based on the comments that I got here from David and Randall, he seems to be heavily biased towards the member of the panel. I know we get a lot of people sending their photos relatively late, but this is it, guys. Next Saturday is the monthly photo review, correct? As we know, it will be done on selected imagery YouTube channel. So next week, remember at the same time here, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Time, uh, eh, eh, logging into the selected imagery YouTube channel, and then we will have the photo review, correct? So it will be March 1st, 2025. So continue to send your photos to Jeff Neville at sedentary1 at gmail.com. The format, as usual, is JPEG, 2848 pixels on the long end, slightly bigger, even double as that, which is typically what I do with Jeff. It's okay. Okay. The deadline should be next Friday, which is February 28th. And but if you have them already early this next week or tomorrow, please do send it, because he needs still to put them into in the folder, rename them so that they come um, in the right order. And please include settings and a brief description of your photo in the email. And remember, always, Jeff will open the channel for those that want to connect and comment on their own photos. Okay,
Yep.
so for sure, uh, guys, don't forget. So he has already 59 photos. Okay, typically we want to get 80 to 90 to have to go through all this. So as usual, we will have fantastic photos. Okay, so that's Mr. Neville sending me some email here, and also reminder for next week, guys,
Yep.
uh, to connect. All right,
Yeah, and that deadline is noon, February the 28th.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's Jeff's time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or your time zone, whichever is earlier.
Eastern time zone.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So anyway, so we come back to the photo review later on, but let's go back to the show here. So let's go back to Astro, guys. Okay. So we have an Astro challenge for the moon on, I think what I say, March 14.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is shooting the moon really astro?
No, but it's cool. It's
well,
cool.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
It's easy.
We just want to
It's
get it
easy.
straight. What is astro and what
Well,
is not? You know.
it can be because it is another planet, but
it's
Celestial
for me
body.
it is Astro.
yeah.
The eclipses are also Astro. Now there is
Yeah. When I was going to university, we had some priests that were teaching, and then when he was talking about astro bodies and us engineers, we were talking about astro bodies. Ours were closer to Earth than his were.
but indeed the equipment that you need for the equipment that you need, let's say, for
Neutral.
let's say photographing the Milky Way or the Orion,
Yeah,
you know,
that's totally different than shooting the moon.
the shooting the moon, and totally different skills too.
Yeah.
But since we have an eclipse, correct? And Roy, don't think that because you are in Australia you are off the hook, correct? Because you still will have you still have a full moon,
Oh,
a full moon on March 14th. So the challenge for those that are away from the Americas is to do the full moon. The ones that we are here in the eclipse, yeah.
might be upside down.
So for you and Terry and others, you will have a full moon, which, by the way, is pretty interesting to photograph, correct?
Yeah.
Particularly, you process for what they call the mineral moon, correct? Which is trying to get all the details of the different uh, terrains and the different colors that you get, correct? So I do like photographing the moon, correct?
I do too.
Yeah, and
It's
yeah,
good
Gustavo,
if you
you're
get
far
the
enough outside the city that you don't get the heating from the city,
That,
whereas I do when I'm here, and so it disturbs the atmosphere.
no, that never stop you to going
That's
somewhere
right.
else in Calgary.
No,
Right.
no, no. But I did come across a guy but his claim to fame was on on the large telescopes, the ones with the big mirrors in them that are 3 and 5 meters across or so. He come up with a process to adjust those mirrors in real time to counteract the atmospheric anomalies in there, so they got a clearer picture. And
Wow.
what he come up with is he said that every major telescope in the world is using the technology that he helped develop.
All right, all right. So
And then,
anyway,
yeah,
and actually, our long telephoto lenses is not that incapable of doing good astrophotography.
no, they're not. You know, they are good at that, but
Optically, they are very good, correct?
yeah, you do need a star tracker if you're going to start shooting stars.
Exactly. But if you use our longer telephotos, let's say the 800 or the
Yeah,
600, then you need a tracker that is not your small tracker. You need a tracker that has the power to do that, and that's a little bit. So indeed, that's the kind of thing that the okay. You see that's what that's the challenge, guys.
Yep.
I'm in March 2025.
yeah, but that only includes the lower 48 states. It doesn't include Canada.
Well, I need to check that. I will check that one. So, Randa, you were showing that. Um,
Yeah.
so they
Let's
say
see.
March.
It says where. All right. So it says including all of North America. For those United States, it means all the lower 48 states. The total lunar eclipse will also be visible in South America and Europe and Africa.
Okay.
So
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about. So did they say also March 14 or what is it that they because I quoted just based on the full moon. So which day will be that one, David? According with this, US Today.
Yeah. Well,
Ah, but you're looking at 2022.
Yeah, that was 2022.
Yes,
All right.
so uh, or search for eclipse
Yeah.
March
See, I
2025.
clicked on that, and these pictures are like from 2022.
Okay,
But
but
it
the
says it's
article,
coming in March 2025. Uh, if I go down here, yeah, North America. Oh, March 13th and 14th.
Here it is.
Okay, and it's at 12:55 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Daylight Time, according to NASA.
Okay.
yeah, that's only if they have enough employees left.
no politics, David, no
No,
politics.
that's not politics.
Yes.
Be- because
Good.
the NOAA people aren't allowed to talk to Canada anymore.
All
Good.
right.
Good.
No politics, guys. Let's things sort it out themselves. Oh, obviously, we can talk to you. That's important thing, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so anyway, but indeed, I mean, Rakesh is in here. So, and Rakesh shoot a lot of the uh, astro landscape, correct? So, Rakesh, you can give some idea. I like to do more of that, but typically I'm a morning person. So
Oh man.
I game. I think we all like it. I tend to have. When I go on photo shoot, I try to get at least two cameras. Right?
Yeah, I've been out with as many as 4 cameras, and Anita is out at the same time, and she's have 2 or 3 more. So that
Exactly.
would be like 6.
Sort
Exactly. Yeah.
you don't. It's all. Ah, as long as it's something you want to do.
Yeah, and it all depends on what it is. And we were doing this of the night sky, but we're shooting of the aurora.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
So when you do that, Gestapo, with this, w- just talk in a make something beautiful or just for that
Yeah. If it's the
photo.
14th, so we have a chance. So what we can do, since I shot the moon. Remember when I think many of us here shot the moon and the Mars occultation, correct? That's a good set of settings, right? So I can share on maybe not today because I have to search for it, but I can search um, for the parameters that I use to shoot the moon, the Mars occultation by the moon, right? And that will give everybody a good idea before the actual day of the March 14th. So we still have time to prepare.
But
yeah, my apps will tell me maybe a week in advance, and it's for all of these things. If you're if you can't prepare within a week for something like that, you probably need it months. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I'm actually talking about that he do mostly star trails because I think that's the beauty of astrophotography, correct? And I'm sorry, I don't think Terry is in today, but uh, Terry and Rakesh do a lot of things because you can do the trails, correct? Or you can do uh, or you can try to do multiple exposures and then align the stars and then superimpose the landscape into it. So there are it's a fascinating thing, which I don't know very much, but I definitely and I had tried and I had done some, but under the supervision of some other photographers that do much that know a lot more than me.
yeah. I'm writing up a low light photography seminar for the group in Vancouver that I belong to. And it'll cover some of this stuff that you want. And
Yeah.
it'll be an hour plus long, uninterrupted.
Exactly. David, you will be planning after you finish and give it to the photo club in Vancouver. You intend to give it to us here as well?
Well, it's a three-part thing because we have the lecture, we go out for a field trip, which we won't be doing,
Okay.
and then we'll be a photo review afterwards. So it's 1 month is the lecture, the next month is the field trip, and the month or two after that we do the photo review.
All right. All right.
So, but we could always do the lecture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we can always try to do a virtual, a virtual photo shoot with the phones. So that would be a challenge.
Well, especially with Roy being daylight at the time,
But he can do the full moon. The full moon happen everywhere, correct?
Yeah, yeah. But you're just talking about the full moon, but I'm talking about low light photography in general because we're going to be doing this in Vancouver,
Exactly.
and there's lots of water there, and there's lots
Exactly.
of
No,
boats,
no, no.
and
Roy will be ahead of time. He will be
yeah.
the
But
next.
they also have what they call the 9 o'clock gun, which every night at 9 o'clock, provided they have powder, it goes off, and we're going to shoot that, and that is not easy to get. You got to have everything all set up beforehand, and hopefully you don't miss it.
Hmm.
But that's part of the lecture or the seminar.
Yeah, but anyway, so
But
that's
we
good.
get back to astrophotography now.
Yes.
But all of the rules that they have for astrophotography, like the 500 rule and whatever, they were all done in the days of film. When your resolution for your film was probably in the order of 5 to 10 megapixels or equivalent. And now, because we have our sensors, and like Rishi says that the sensor on the Z8 to 9 is actually somewhere around 50 megapixels, not the 47. But because of the image stabilization, you're only using the 47 or whatever it is. Yeah,
45.7.
whatever. Anyway, but it's really 50.
Of course, Randall can still try to shoot the moon with the film, correct?
Well, I've shot the moon with film, and that's why what I said for settings that works.
You know, bit astrophotography is done more or less with a telescope and using the camera to report them.
Yeah, yeah, but not necessarily, Chuck. It's because you have
No.
wide angle astrophotography and you have long lens astrophotography,
To be
which are similar.
yes, but it is really hard to do it though.
Well,
It's not cheap. Like I was thinking about getting an astrophotography setup, and entry level for me would be 10K.
because you can have a long head like a 800 with two times the thing, but the thing about it is you have to be able to uh, check the well, so it travels along with it.
Yeah,
exactly.
you need a star tracker.
Yeah.
But then
and- yeah.
the problem is there is some good strat tracker. Actually, I have one that I haven't even used yet. Correct? That are but the problem is those star trackers work well with limited amount of weight, correct? So I actually was thinking about doing some star tracking with the planner because some of the things that I'm interested in photographing, like the some of the nebula, okay, actually even with a 200 millimeter or 135 millimeter shot, you can get fantastic photos of the nebula.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it means you.
but you need to track it.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yes. You have to say that.
And see that the bigger star or the better star trackers come with weights so that you can balance the whole thing. It's just
Yeah.
like balancing your gimbal. You got to balance the star tracker.
Yes.
But before you got to balance it, you got to align the star tracker. And that is much easier to do in the northern hemisphere because we have the North Pole,
Yeah.
you know, the North of the North Star. Whereas down south, they don't have that. So
Yeah,
they have to align differently. But
yeah,
what's some of the star trackers, what you can do now is you take your telescope, you aim it at three different stars that you know the names of,
Yes.
and you tell your computer this is what you're aiming at, then it'll align everything for you.
Exactly.
But that means you need power for your laptop in the field, plus better star tracker and everything else. So that's another 10K.
yeah.
Oh, I think you can do it. I need to experiment with the setup I have. I didn't spend 10K for sure, but
I know, yeah, but it is not simple because if you like, it depends on how big you want to get into it. But I've been up with a group that's really big
yeah,
into this, and their reflector telescopes I could fit
yeah,
inside.
exactly. No,
Yeah,
and basically the camera they put in there. And that's the other thing, correct? A lot of the good astrophotography is done with cameras that don't have, let's say, some of the uh, low pass filters and filters that we have, correct? So they
Yeah.
are they
no, they don't have any of that stuff. What it really is their camera looks a lot like a red
a box,
camera. It's mainly just it's mainly it's not
it's a
even a
sensor.
box. It looks like a big
Exactly.
filter that fits on the end, you know. And it's you got your sensor and that's what
Yeah.
you use. But it's not something that I want to get into because I'm in the wrong place for that. I can't do it in the summertime because it doesn't get
Exactly.
dark. If I lived further south, I could do it in the summertime.
Exactly.
And in the wintertime, it's cold and you need a lot of heat.
To keep everything between, not for freezing.
No, to keep me warm because all of this equipment has to be ambient temperature.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, but
So
we will have a. I think it's worthwhile exploring a little bit. As I told you, there was a special on that. I think I bought one called Benro Polaris tracker. Now it cannot handle the long telephoto. It can handle
mhm.
small telephoto, but I think it can handle. Uh, I think it can handle even my planner. Correct. So, and that is enough because that's the other big conception, Chuck. Our lens is something like the 800 millimeter or the 600 millimeter. Those lenses are quality. The optical quality of those
Yeah.
are fantastic, right?
Yes.
So the problem is that they are meant for photography, correct? And their focal length is short, correct? Some of those that David is talking about, those reflect what they call mirror
Yeah, the
reflector.
reflector.
Those are like
Yeah.
2,000 millimeter, 3,000 millimeter, 4,000 millimeter, correct?
Yeah.
And they are based on mirrors rather than glass, correct?
Right.
Because that's what make them affordable,
Yeah.
correct? And but uh, I don't know if you guys remember that. Actually, see, I was looking at that the other day because I interested on the subject of astronomy in general, although I don't practice that. Correct? That there is a famous array of telescope that is actually made of a bunch of, I think it's the 800 millimeter Canon. So they put them like 20 together, right? With the respective set. So they use a kind of photographic quality lenses
Mhm.
to create an special array for doing, I mean, I talk science astrophotography, correct? So if I find that article or that website, I show it to you because it, what we're discussing here is that indeed uh, our glasses are quality enough. It's just that, I mean, already for us, 800 millimeters is an exotic lens, correct? And
Mhm.
not easy to handle with a regular tracker. It's too heavy, and some of those exposures, David, correct? They are to get good exposures of the nebula and all that. It's it's half a day of half an hour.
Well, they're into the hours
Exactly,
anyway.
What
exactly.
the
Yeah.
600 6.3 is a good camera for the dual three. We know done it. It's long. It's long, but it's not so strong like the 85 or 800.
Exactly. Yeah. So indeed, Albert, the astronomy started obviously from people looking at the stars and looking at the uh, movement of whatever was different from the stars, which was the planets, correct? And how they move, so-called retrograde, correct? Sometimes they advance in, in the in the sky, correct? And sometimes they go apparently or relative backwards, correct?
Mhm.
So that's fascinating, correct? And that's where we get all these kind of alignments of the planets, which are not true alignments; they are just relative to our position in space. They look to be aligned, right?
Mhm.
But anyway, so interesting subject. We need to discuss it more. But again, we got other people. I'm fascinated. You probably have seen that, correct? The quality of those photos, the astro landscape photography. Those to me, they're one of the most beautiful photos.
Mhm.
Okay, but that requires special skills. Think, let me just check here. There is a channel that I watch in YouTube, but that I may need to. Let me see if I can, because I have the YouTube here for the comments. Let me see if I can go to log out for a second.
There's an Aussie that does some really great
Exactly,
night
exactly.
photography.
That's the one that I'm
Yeah.
looking. They're giving a shout out. This guy, and he explained the basics too.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can find it, David, or I can find it. I know he posted something recently.
Yeah. I follow him. But I also follow 200 others.
Exactly, that's a problem when you try to find the people that you follow. Anyway, and I think
Yeah.
Terry,
Yeah. I've got something going on out check on. I'll be back in a minute or two.
no
All right.
problem. So Roy, so let's finish here the astrophotography, and when I find this guy, I mention his name. But so you, so 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 describe again your interaction with the 25, the 28 to 135, the the power zoom. So so it was a friend of yours. You're on mute.
Yeah, from what I saw, it was seemed a bit soft, but it might be pre-production. I thought that front lens was going to be just a dummy like some of the other lenses. That's the focus.
But does it?
You're freezing on me, I'm afraid.
So, so do you? I mean, a lot of the comment we heard is that is obviously this is not a lens to be a substitution for the 24-120 f4, which a lot of us have it, right? It's a which is a very popular lens, but this 28-135 power zoom f4, the people expect it to be, because it's a lot more bulky, to be a lot heavier. But do you find it heavier or not?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy, but it's very similar to the Sony version of the same lens. Maybe it's the same maker for both of them.
Okay.
Um, Power zoom's pretty simple, really, because most lenses these days are focused by wire anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you have
Be
to
nice
have a different. You have to have a different motor in the
just
zoom.
connected to it, just some way controlling it. I don't think there'd be much electronics extra required.
Exactly. Yeah. And they and Roy, the so did you like the gold base ring on the
I miss the gold rings on them, but usually at the other end of the lens.
exactly.
Might be a new trend for them.
Well, I think that we all hope that that's their signature look for the cinema line.
It
Seems a
matches.
nice.
It matches the gold ring on the camera.
Exactly. So, what lens do you? What camera did you put it on, Troy? Or your friend have it on which camera?
It was just on a Z8, but that's what I've always got with me.
Okay.
I knew it wouldn't go on the D850, so I didn't take that. That's what I've been using mostly lately. I've gone back to my D850.
Okay.
But not
Got
for that
bored.
lens.
No,
Not for that lens. So anyway, so you is this friend of yours is going to have eventually a production lens or not?
yeah, it must be pretty close now.
And do you think that
There's a few of them around.
do you think you will have a chance to play with the lens again?
If I want to, I think. I'm not
Okay.
sure if I like it yet. I haven't made up my mind. If I was going for it, I'd probably go for the 24-120 first.
Hmm.
And you don't have that one.
No.
Okay.
I've got two 24-70s,
Okay.
28-70s. I've got some others.
Yeah.
Got 28-80s, but no 120-120 because I bought mine when they first came out. So the 120 being late on the line, I kind of didn't get around to it.
Hmm.
No, that definitely. But it would be I mean, for videographers, they seem to be like a good lens. So for all photographers, the 24-120. I mean, that's such a travel lens, correct? If I go to travel, that's the for general photography. That's the first lens that go into my camera. If I go
Probably too heavy
wildlife,
for that.
no,
It's
talking
very
about
big.
the 24-120.
Yeah, me too. I didn't like the 24-200. The 28-400 is an interesting lens, but it's just for travel, I think.
Yeah, I got
They
the
used to have a
24 to
28-300,
200,
which was
the 120, and the 28 to 400. They're good lenses.
And look, keep guys talking. I'm looking for that.
The 100 to 400, I have a friend that used it for street photography. I thought that was kind of unique. You know, it's smaller than the 180 to 600 or the
you
Sigma
wouldn't have to get very
150 to
close.
600, but they used the 100 to 400. So That was interesting. On has anybody ever used like a 5 millimeter or 8 millimeter for uh, star photography
I, no,
or
most of
night
them are
photography?
photos.
I've got
The
an 8
best
to
one,
15.
but that's fisheye.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, the 8 to 15 is the fisheye, and the stars are too far away to see. But with my 10 millimeter Laowa, it'll work for that.
right. So there was a third party lens that came out, and one was a 5 millimeter, and then they had a 10 millimeter. So I was wondering if anybody ever used something like that. And they were just primes. They weren't the
Yeah,
zoom.
I've got a 10, 12, and a 15 that are primes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they all work well. Yeah,
The Viltrox 16 is quite a nice lens.
yeah.
Any problems
One
with
for Nick.
distortion?
Yeah, I think the Viltrox is pretty good. 16 millimeters is a good compromise if you want something really wide.
There's nothing the matter with my 10 millimeter Laowa. But, like when it comes, the distortion is not bad. But well, it depends. Being
Acceptable.
that it's being that it's 10 millimeters, your perspective is all it's quite a bit different than it is with other focal lengths. And so when you get stuff near the edges, the shape changes. But I even notice that with the 24 millimeter lens, if if you got, but it all depends on what you're shooting. But if you're shooting the night sky, and if you watch your foreground objects that you have off to the side, it everything turns out great. Like I've got no complaints. You know, and it has very little barrel distortion for being a 10 millimeter lens. And this one is actually automatic, which my 12 is F mount and my 15 is Z mount, but both the 12 and the 15 are both manual focus. But for after dark, I prefer manual focus. Well,
I've got 7.5 millimeter. That's no focus at all. Everything's in focus.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's what I do when I run around with a 12 millimeter. I put it at f5.6 and I focus it for 10 feet away. Then everything is in focus.
Yeah, I'm answering.
Focus is overrated.
Okay, so the channel that we recommended is a channel called Nightscape Images, and it's this guy in Australia, right? And he do a lot of these landscape photography. So you are interested on learning about that. He seemed to be a good resource. I got a couple of other resources, but the Spaniards are they are very much into this landscape photography, but they are all in Spanish, correct? So it would not be used here for many of us here, but for sure. But this guy in Australia, Nightscape Images, okay?
Yeah,
He's excellent. He is excellent, and then
yeah,
he'll do lighting too.
Yes, he
And
do.
yeah, so he'll do like the headlights from his truck, on a barn, and then he'll have the stars, in the background, and he talks about composition, and then the different lighting techniques. He's
Yes.
fantastic.
The issue is that for me, correct, I used to do a little bit more of the many years ago because I had a colleague of work that was also a photographer, and he was very much into that. He was a retired person from the Air Force Academy, and he was a navigator. so he knew his way in the stars very well, right? So him and I will go out. I would sometimes for wildlife photography, and sometimes we will go for night photography with him, and he was very good. But he moved to Alaska first, and then back to Houston. So um, I don't have him anymore because typically with all this long wait, and David knows that, correct? When you take those long exposures, it's better to go with somebody unless you do it from your home. It's better to go with somebody because you probably have a lot of time to discuss the meaning of life. Correct. Take a coffee or a hard liquor and then discuss the meaning of life where your camera is doing all the work. That's where your whiskey comes along very well, David.
Oh yeah, that's why I use the intervalometer a lot. You
Exactly.
know, and that's one thing that I really like about Nikon's. But the better Canons have it now, but Olympus has it also. And you set up your camera and you just let her go, and you go by every half hour to make sure that the battery's still charged and it's not fogged up and whatever. And then you can go back and you can talk about the meaning of life and see what's going on and or you can go have a snooze for half an hour, and get back up and go do it again. But
Exactly. And if
when
you make
Anita and I were up at Lesser Slave Lake,
yeah,
we had 6 cameras going, and it was 600 steps for me to walk around to check all 4 of mine,
exactly.
and they're all aimed at different directions, and they're all shooting the aurora, and it was, man, was that ever moving fast.
That's true.
Yeah.
But if not, at least David, if you go with your whiskey at the end of the session, if it's not good, it doesn't matter anymore.
The thing is you can't be sipping on your whiskey and shooting at the same time because you can't tell if your camera's in focus or not.
That's true. So anyway,
Yeah. So the two don't mix. You
that's
know.
true.
Yeah. Randall, you got to get a better seat for that dog. You know.
Well, no, now see, it was nice and flat until she got there. So it's raining outside, car alarms are going off, and this is what she does with her pillow. She kneads it to where it's comfortable, and then she'll lay down. And she'll do this for about 10, 15 minutes before she'll sit down. And then if it starts lightning or thunder, then she'll drag that pillow right next to me. So there goes my puppy cam. But you see,
Randall, see, this is a channel that we discuss a lot of things, right? So
yeah,
that the dogs typically before they prepare their bed like that, and we are seeing a live presentation of that, and they go maybe 3 or 4 times, and then they rest.
yeah,
Now,
yeah. So she's going to do her circle.
exactly. So they do. I
Yeah,
mean, we're
yeah,
seeing it
there she
here.
goes.
Correct? Now,
Yeah,
the in the wild, the wolf and the coyotes, and they also do the same. Correct? Even on the wolf in the snow, they do exact. Probably David has seen that there in Canada,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah,
When I was surveying in the wintertime, because be setting up in the snow, and you have your snowshoes on, you go around in a circle about 3 or 4 times, just like a dog, looking for places, and then you would pack the snow down enough that you could set up on it. You were good for about 10 or 15 minutes before, and as long as the day wasn't hot. If the day was hot, then you had to bury your tripod legs in the snow
exactly.
so that the sun wouldn't get at them and move your instrument.
Yeah,
But it's all the same way.
but they do this, correct? The wolf do this, and the coyotes and the foxes, and then they like Randall's dog here, they curl in a little ball, correct? And of course they now their exposed area is relatively limited. Now the point that I wanted to make is that when they poop, they also do this circling around, correct? Now the
yeah,
interesting thing is that there have been some studies, correct? And you can search for that, that when they do that, they basically orient themselves at a certain angle with the magnetic field of the Earth, correct? Because so they don't in the wild, they don't lie in a random sort of way. That when they have measured the way they lie or they poop, they always point towards certain. I don't remember anymore whether it's east, west, or north, south, but they orient themselves. Correct? And it makes sense, Chuck, because remember they are also when they're pooping, they are making some markings. So
I had to get off the floor. I had to get back in my chair.
So,
It's too much information.
exactly.
so that Gustavo has got a project for Randall and Chuck next week. Is that whenever the cat or the dog goes to have a crap, get out the compass and
No,
measure what angle
no,
the animal's facing.
not cats. Cats don't do that. They
Yeah.
don't. Cats are too cool. They don't care about that stuff.
Yep. Yep.
But just to be sure, Chuck can measure it anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to give some homework for Chuck.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
I-
because
I
I
know
noticed Chuck's cat has disappeared because it
Yeah,
wasn't.
He took off. Yep.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
anyway,
So this is where you come when you want to get a whole bunch of UFI,
Yeah.
not necessarily photography.
Mm.
exactly. Not non-important information, but hey, maybe one day it will be the meaning of life.
Well, okay. So if I get lost in the forest, then what I'll do is I'll bring my dog, and then whenever she poops, I'll know which way is north.
Or some.
Well,
So,
besides the moths on the tree, but
exactly. So obviously, as you know, Randall, many animals can feel the magnetic field, correct? Pigeons and stuff like that.
and they can also they notice when an earthquake or something's going to happen too.
Yeah,
So-
that hasn't been proven, but that they can do it. I mean, I'm a geologist, correct? So that
Yeah.
portion I do know. So that has not been proven because, but remember, they have superior hearing, correct? So
That's right.
So they probably can hear it before us, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
No. Doesn't the sound go through the earth faster than it goes through the air?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the sound speed for the so-called P wave, correct, which are the faster wave in any earthquake, uh, travel. I don't want to quote the number, but they travel a lot faster, correct? So, but we in geology or particular seismology, they analyze the wave, and remember there is the motion is different, correct? The first wave that arrives is the so-called P wave, which is basically a motion that it goes like this, correct? So typically, if you guys have not been in an earthquake, I was in an earthquake, a big earthquake in Caracas. I think it was '67, and I remember. I mean, you start feeling a rumble, correct, first, and that's the arrival of the P wave. Now I tell you one thing that we did as a kid, because kids can be cruel, correct? And certainly, the everybody got traumatized after the earthquake, correct? All the adults were traumatized, correct? And and because it had that characteristic sound of the wave coming that started with a rumble, like that sounded something like, and then increases, and you hear that first, that rumble, and then it started shaking, woo, 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 which are the cheer wave, correct? So it's a cheer motion. That's the one that basically produces most of the damage. So we learned, Chuck, to stomp the ground in a fashion that resembled the earthquake coming. So we will be, where the adults were, and we start stomping the ground, and the adults will get all agitated. But these are the kind of tricks that you do when you have 10 years old. Right?
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
Well, one of the communities that I lived in is because there was a mine that was right there,
Mhm.
and they have their blast twice a day. What the women did for all their expensive china is they put sheets of paper like between each of the plates. So
Okay.
when the blast went, that the plates wouldn't rattle and break. You know,
Oh,
and they did that for their cups and saucers and for everything. You know, but I lived far enough away so it wasn't a problem. But anybody that had anything expensive, that's what they had to
oh,
do.
and in California, I think by regulations are that cabinets and stuff like that that can fall, like uh,
Yeah,
they have to be anchored to the wall. Correct. So there are the places that are earthquake prone. They have a special regulation. We have some people here in the audience from California. They can tell us about it. But anyway, we as usual we digress.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You want to go through the, the, the
Yes, let's go back to photography. Let me look for it, Chuck, in
oh,
a second,
okay. Yeah.
and then I put it on and we share. So we're going to be talking about safety lines. So let
All
me
right.
switch here Windows. Go back to the first slide, then put it on here, then try to share it. Okay. All right.
All right. Hang on.
And you can leave us in the bottom part also there, Chuck, because this is large enough that we can talk without problem.
All right.
You can see it, okay? So this is my 37 presentation for you guys, right? So I think it falls in the category for accessories, right? And in particular for those that we are working with long telephotos, right? The use of safety lines, right? So that the long telephotos don't fall from the tripod, or they don't set, or if they fall from the tripods, they don't go to the ground, or they separate from the lens. It falls to the ground. And the reason why what I wanted to discuss this is because it was um, a video from Mark Granger. Uh, I think it was 2 3 weeks ago, where he posted the fact that when he was using the 100 to 400 for a run that you probably remember, um, he's
I think it was a 70 to 200 f2.8.
sorry, the 70 to
Yeah.
200 exactly. That has one of those. So we will talk a little bit about that as well, correct? But that gave us the inspiration and a reminder for me. Hey, yes, you need to build some new safety lines, correct? For your lenses again, and update them and check them and make sure they are in the back. So that was the motivation for this. So let me go here to the next line. Okay. So this is the what I wanted to cover. Okay. So I think having safety lines between the lenses, cameras, uh, uh, the say trap, but it's straps, right? And the tripod is essential. Okay. Um, Unfortunately, there is no ready-made solution. You cannot go to B&H and say, "Give me a safety line for this and that camera." So uh, typically something that you have to hack, you have to put together, right? And it's not that difficult, right? So as I said, after seeing what happened to Matt, I said, let me update the the ones that I have, adapt them for the lenses that I currently have, correct? So I built some new safety line. Um, and I think we have our discussion. I think it was February 8th, okay, about the camera critical part. So after all these, I think the the materials that I ended using were mostly the paracord 2 millimeters and paracord 4 millimeters. Uh, uh, the nylon pet slip collars, Randall, those are good too. Okay, so
Yes.
I actually I think this one here in here, this is a pet collar. Okay? They are very well made. They are very resistant. Okay, so and they already have hooks. So these pet collars for small dogs like yours are a good baseline. Correct. And obviously, you have to marry that with carabiners. And I talked to you the what are the carabiners that are using nowadays, right? And sometimes you attach to different parts of the lens or the L bracket uh, using either QD swivels or some of the carabiners. Okay. Um, I also got the 1/8 inch stage like cables that was suggested by Roy. Actually ended up buying a box of those, and I'll show you later on. They are not. They are very good for what they are intended to do as a stage like cables. Obviously, they are made of steel wire, uh, so that they can be heat resistant, and since they are handled probably in the old times very hot lights, correct? But having a box of those in your uh, drawers of photography thing is a good suit. Now, before I show you a little more, I think the disclaimer that goes with this is these safety lines. You should never use them as your main way to support or carry your camera. You use your straps and everything else, or you carry by the foot, but please do not use the safety lines as your main support. They are meant only to save you or delay the lens for the lens and camera falling into the floor. Correct? All right. So let me go back here and advance. So these are some of the materials that I bought. Actually, uh, when I'm buying, it's always good to have a paracord. So I ended up buying some reels of paracords. Uh, I don't like these paracords. The good thing that they have is that they are not stretchy. Correct. And part of the thing that happened to Matt Ranger is is that I think he used something that has some elastic properties,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not while the paracord, if for once it can carry a lot of weight, right? Uh, and 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 uh, and it doesn't have that much elasticity, right? So you can see here this one, which is a 2 millimeter paracord, which I use it for anchoring into the 800. It can carry up to one single strand of paracord, and you probably put two together when you make your loop. It can carry 240 pounds, right? So that's plenty, right? Now the bigger paracord, which I use in between the carabiner, okay, that can carry up to 640 pounds. Right? So paracord for me and these pet slip collars are some of the solution for basically the strand portion of this, right? So the carabiners, so obviously there are many different carabiners. I always carry some sort of carabiner in my bag because you never know when you're going to use it, correct? But in as I was building new one, I actually found these PJ Tac titanium carabiners, which um, are relatively light, correct? And they are made to carry keys and stuff, and extremely well made, correct? And made of titanium, so they are weight versus carrying capacity. They are very good. So I found those, and these were like $11. By the way, 100 uh, 100 feet of these, I think it was like $12, $15 or something like that. Okay, so also obviously you have to use the carabiners. You can also sometimes screw on your what is it, quarter-inch uh, uh, tripod connector in your camera or in your L bracket. Okay, so I think these danger body uh, camera carabiner clips, which I got from B&H, those are very useful and they're very practical. So you can buy a set of three and put it in your bag. Okay, so if you want to attach to the uh, to the bracket, you can attach this one. You want to have double attachment, you can also use the QD strap swivel from uh, Real Right Stuff or others, okay, to have an attachment. Okay, so with all these put together, you can make your strap. Obviously, I mentioned before that I ended buying these stage light cables, right? And they come in sets, correct? And they come with their own carabiner. So I think it's a good thing to have, correct?
Yeah.
So you can have all these different materials, and then this is your own. You build your own, correct? So here I show you two examples. Certainly for the 800, and many of us in the channel have the 800, correct? So you cannot attach the carabiner directly. I never put the basically the strap. By the way, I hate using the safety lines in general, correct? The same reason why I don't put a strap on my camera is because certainly for wildlife photographer, if they catch the wind, they're be flapping and all that kind of stuff. But having a safety strap is a good thing. Now, the carabiners cannot connect to where the length strap can be attached. Okay, so you have to make a loop where you can attach something else. Okay, and so I ended using that 2 millimeter paracord to create to basically uh, loop around the camera strap. Now you can use also camera strap material, but that to be that is a little bit thicker, correct? So you can see in this case, I have that one attached to the lens with a carabiner, and if you follow the line, it goes back here to the other carabiner to one of these body lock. This is my Gitzo, who has I think it's a 1/8 or quarter inch, the tripod socket. Okay, so you can uh, attach there. So this is basically an anchor between the foot of the lens, or in this case the lens, and the tripod. Okay? And in the case, then attached to the same, there was another safety line with a different carabiner, or attached to the same carabiner, doesn't matter. Then connected to the bottom of the L bracket. Right? So here, if I were to walk with all this on my shoulder, okay, and for whatever reason any of these will slip or come out, I will be able to delay the system um, dropping into the floor, and that's what you try to do with this. Right?
Hmm.
So for the 800, this is for the 800. For the 600, okay, that is, it doesn't have a strap, correct? It doesn't have a you don't have a trap attached to it. So for that one, I use some of those. I connected to the exposed part of the foot of the lens, and from there I went with the carabiner. In this case, I went only to the foot of the tripod, correct?
Yeah.
So I think that when you buy all the material, and I think many of you have the material already, correct? You just need to make sure that you have it when you need it, correct? When you put your tripod in your shoulder, you you put everything together, and then you add the safety lines, or if you are waiting for something to happen, correct? They say photographing the moon, correct? Then you put all you know what you're going to do. You set your tripod, put your safety line. I think it's a good practice, okay?
Yeah.
Because you can move your tripod a little bit and everything falls apart, and that's not. Now, use a safety trap. You have to make sure that you don't get entangled with them, okay? So you have to make sure that you can um, undo them relatively easy. Okay? Now, talking a little bit about other safety line. Uh, so I know the incident with Mark Ranger in the safari was I think was that it broke in the base of the foot, okay, and he was using a, a Arca Swiss in top of the Nikon foot. Okay,
Yeah.
now here you see I replace uh, the Nikon foot with the real right stuff, correct? Uh, and in the case, you see I connected with the uh, a QR a QD swivel on one end and a small um, safety line, and in this case, it's a quarter inch or whatever at the bottom of that one. Okay, or you can. So there are many ways to do this. Correct, but I did encourage you guys to do some of this stuff. It is important, but do not carry the lens. Now you can see if you don't want to have the foot on, you see I removed the foot completely, which is I think that what happened to you, Roy. Correct? It was not super tight here, and if you put your hands on it can fall from the base. Correct? So, but you can have this attachment, correct, from this 1/8 or 1/4, whatever is the tripod uh, diameter, to another one here. Okay, so there are many ways to do that, but having all this accessory is essential. Okay, now in his case it was worse because what he broke was this screw here. Okay, the fourth screw came or went through the thread, which that's a more dramatic type of failure. Now, he was using a safety line, an elastic one, and he was able to kind of get everything under control as he was falling, and he didn't have damage neither in the camera or in the legs. So, this is what I have for you guys. Okay, just encouragement to do some of these safety line. I think it's essential. Okay? So, any questions, guy?
Um, I'm looking on pricing
Mhm.
on some of these, and I remember you were saying something about your cables. Were they kind of stiff? The ones
Yes,
that you bought?
yes. I can show you here. This one that Roy recommended. Okay. Uh, so let me start sharing for
Mine are
you.
mostly for lighting, though.
See this one that Roy recommended. His were black, correct? Which are these are made of braided steel cable, okay? And they are different diameter. These are too stiff for safety cable. Okay? And typically the actual but they are very well made. You see, they come with the hood already well made. Okay? And they have I think this is one of the smaller size, and sometimes for the safety lines you need something even smaller than this. That's where the colors work very well for that, correct? And I was afraid, although this has some plastic coating, correct, I don't want the steel to be rubbing against my lens or my camera. Okay?
But see, those are for likes.
Yes,
But what you're talking about is for the cameras.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
camera and lens. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But the easy way was to build it,
yeah.
Randy, because
Yeah.
the paracord. I mean, I don't know what is the weight capacity of this. I suspect that is in the hundreds of pounds. But paracord, even I mean, I can show you. I still have the paracord here that I bought. this paracord here, the 2 millimeter one,
Yep.
which you need to put up around the hook. I mean, that thing is 2 millimeters diameter. Right?
Yep.
That can, the one strand only can hold it 240 pounds.
Yeah.
So, so that's very good. So you can do the whole system only with the small paracord if you don't want
Right.
to. So I ended using a combination of 4 millimeter and 2 millimeter. Okay? But it's like anything, correct? You buy something and then you know end up buying more than you actually need because you don't know for sure and you start experimenting. It's like your scanning thing, correct? It's, you end up buying more.
Yep.
So those are the way. And those other carabiner, I, I put away all my camera gear. I can show you out of my drawers.
Gustavo, there's just too much gear. I love it. You're going to a whole new quadrant of the house. You're going to come back with like a bin of stuff. It's so exciting. There's a bin of stuff. I knew it. I found it. It's a bin. This is awesome. It is not an affliction. We can stop whenever we want.
Yeah, the other thing, remember we got that video that we recommended some of these little photo or real-life stuff attached. You can put those in the foot of your lens, or you can attach it to your L bracket, correct? So those things, and then you can use it. You have, remember we have that discussion. You have your peak design. You can attach also that to your peak design, but that was mostly for. I think I put them those PJ tag carabiners. I think I put them. I have one here still. I mean these titanium little carabiners, correct?
Yep.
Those are extremely. Uh, I mean they can
Strong,
carry a lot of
durable.
weight, and they are basically weightless, correct? At this small size. Made of
Yeah.
titanium, and these were like $11 only, Randall. They sell these for key rings and that kind of stuff. Actually,
Yeah.
my my wife make a key ring also with this kind of system, but she used bronze rather than titanium. Okay? Which titanium makes a lot more sense, but it's
Well,
more expensive.
that way she can hit someone that's trying to rob her. You know, she can use it for.
Exactly. But anyway, so these kind of things. So we paracord and a couple of these. I think you're set, correct? You just need to find where all the hooking points are in your camera, right? And then you can attach it, right? So anyway, so those are things that it's good to have. Right? Actually, I like this other product as well, correct? Which is I think I showed you at one time the rib tie. So this is for putting carabiners on cables, correct? You carry cable with you.
Yeah.
These are very useful. So anyway, so in your drawers of little trinkets, you can have a lot of those things. But important is that you need to have them when you are in the field. So you need to see what do I need to secure my 100 to 400 or to secure my 800, okay? Particularly the 800, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, let me show, because I mentioned that to Mr. Ishii, correct? Because this happened to me. So let me share this slide again, Chuck.
Okay.
Good.
One minute.
Because if you use a replacement foot or you use a plate, Arca Swiss plate, right? Uh, Attaching it with screws to your Nikon plate, correct?
Yeah.
They typically come with these little uh, stops, correct? At the end of the plate. In this case, this is a replacement foot, but there is this Allen key screws, correct?
Yeah.
These two things are very important. Many years ago, I have a replacement foot, or it was a foot that I attached, and I didn't put those little screws. Okay? And what this screw prevent is that if you haven't tightened the tripod completely, okay, and it can slide, this will stop the sliding out of your tripod. Okay?
Yep.
So I learned a hard lesson, correct, by dropping a camera into the floor. Luckily, it was in grass and stuff, so nothing got damaged. But it's just the safety was provided by these little screws. Correct? So make sure that if you put a replacement foot or if you use a third manufacturer foot attached to the nickel, that you have this. If you don't have this in your foot, it's a big risk because even walking with a tripod or putting I mean, it can loosen the knob in your tripod, and it can slide. I many times even using this, I walking with my tripod and the camera attached, and I hear "kung," and it's because it had got lost, and then it goes and stop at these little screws. Okay?
Yep.
They are made to be. So,
Mhm.
so anyway, uh, this I tell you a little bit story about safety, which is important because all these things apply here. But any other question, guy?
No.
Uh, now I would always get the not the long one because uh, depending on the length of the cable, I like mine a little bit short, so I don't want it to fall that much. Uh, I'm a little worried about putting it on a tripod. Um, I usually have a harness, and I would attach it to myself.
As well.
So if something like that would fall off, I don't depend on that. Uh, I would put it on the lens, but not on the camera.
Yeah.
And
But
so
then
if the
you're
lens
tethered.
falls off,
Then you're tethered to your tripod and your camera, correct? So if you move
no,
abruptly,
I'm tethered to myself and to the lens,
exactly,
which is attached to the camera.
exactly.
Right.
But then if you move, you can bring the whole thing down, correct?
Well, you see, I'm pretty careful about that.
No, of course we are.
So I don't move away that much. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. But what would happen if the tripod fell over?
Exactly. No, it's a good thing, and that's why I think if you listen to people like Steve Perry or Mr. Stewart, who work with a lot of instruments supported by tripods, right? The first thing you say your tripod, you check it, right? You put your weight onto the tripod, right? And make sure that it's working. But talking about safety systems, okay? I think many of us are working different industries. We know that for a safety system, a single safety system on its own has value. But typically, the way it works in all safety systems, aviation or mining, I presume the military has the same chalk, is that you put multiple layers of safety, one on top of the other. Correct? Is that they call it in my industry, they call it the Swiss cheese model. Correct? Which is basically no safety system will be perfect, but if you have to overimpose safety system, what you don't want is that there is interception between the safety system, correct? Because as soon as two or more holes collide, or basically the weakness of each safety coincide, then you have a catastrophe, correct? So that's typically what we should apply to our cameras, is to have safeties, multiple safety point of safeties, correct? So that there is no way of having issues. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Many of us have to work in industry that safety is important, David, correct? You know that.
Oh yeah.
And so it get drilled into your brain. Right?
Well, you don't want to drill into your brain either with the drill.
Exactly. And I'm sure that you, Rand, and you and Chuck that work in the military is the same, correct? you get indoctrinated in safety all the time.
Just yeah, it depends on what you wanted to use.
Exactly. But anyway, so I thought it was an appropriate topic for us to have because we
Yep.
want to preserve our equipment. Correct?
Yep.
Excellent.
All right.
So, Chuck, since we reach the time that I'm allowed to stay late tonight,
Yep.
so let me go back to, let me stop here
Okay.
and go back to the invite for next week.
Yep. Ooh,
And then we can talk. And Joy, you after that you can give us a little bit of your wisdom.
I don't know about wisdom, but I don't mind saying hello.
Say hello, and but so let me do the promo for
Mr. Neville.
Mr. Neville. Oh, I'm still on the same presentation. Okay, this is the problem with multiple windows. They get one behind the other. No,
Well, you need more screens, Gustavo.
yeah. All right. Okay. So, Joy, if you haven't sent your photos to Mr. Neville, this is your time.
This is it.
So the next monthly photo review will be next week. And remember, this community here will move to that channel, right? Um, next Saturday. So it will be Saturday, March 1st. And please do send your photos to Mr. Neville in selected imagery 1 at gmail.com. Okay. Your format is JPEG 2048 pixels on the long end or slightly bigger. Okay. Deadline is midday, David, midday, Friday before the photo review. Okay. Um, and do please include that will be February 28th. Okay. Lunchtime, Easter time. Please include settings and a brief description of your photo in your email to Jeff. Right?
yep.
So he has already 59 images, right? So we would like to get it to 80 or 90 like we had done prior to that.
Okay.
So anyway, so Joy,
Yeah. Hello. How you guys doing?
you're good.
Oh, I'm full screen. Oh no. Okay. I don't really have any major life updates or anything. No, it's a good week. Had a flat tire today. That was the thing. That was
All
fun.
right.
Above 0 degrees, as David well knows, which is excellent. The hockey team won, so that was a relief. It's an emotionally charged week, gentlemen. Emotionally charged indeed. But no, it's good. I got a project I am working on pitching right now. Don't have the partner quite set, but basically it will be a 5-part miniseries doing season over season photos in 4 different designated spots in the Rocky Mountains using one camera system for all of it. The basic premise will be just kind of using one prime, and then we'll be doing a seasonal stitch of 4 composites of all 4 images from the exact same vantage point. It's going to be challenging, getting the tripod and everything set exactly right, but we'll be doing that season over season piece into a photo book, which will be fun if the project gets greenlit. So yeah, that's kind of the world of workout, trying to see if maybe the partner will provide me with some equipment to shoot with. It will either be APS-C format or potentially medium format. So we will see which, if they go for it, which piece of equipment they decide to lend me. But yeah, definitely exciting. I've been wanting to do something that's a bit more just photo first for a while, and I sold my Panasonic system and was wanting to get into something a little bit smaller that I could carry with me more places. So yeah, hopefully the company brand that this is being sent to in question, which I'm sure you all can guess, but I will not say, just in the interest of keeping it kind of private until we hear anything, could be exciting. So yeah,
Sounds
very
exciting.
excited about that. Yeah.
All right.
So what about you, Mr. Stewart? Say your
Okay. Anyway, so it's that time of the night again, early,
Yes.
but it's I'm looking forward to Jeff's show, and between Randall and I think we almost have 50% of the pictures in there, plus or minus 40% uh, are ours, and hopefully somebody else has some pictures to show so that Randall and I don't have to tell lies all night. And but I did submit a couple of pictures with beavers in them, and they're the kind that have 4 feet and a big flappy
All
tail,
right. All right.
not the other kind.
Okay.
And 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 some of my other pictures are I've kind of gotten out of my comfort zone
Okay.
for them. So you'll see what that's
Beautiful.
like.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
So, Roy,
yeah.
do you send your photos or not yet? On mute, Roy.
Not yet. I just got the same birds to photograph. Nothing new.
Oh, but you have plenty. You have a large catalog of your old photos.
I do, yes, but that's going to be old too.
That's okay. Hey, by the way, I'm actually one of the photos that I already submitted was taken many years ago, more than 20 years ago, with a D100, 3 megapixels, and uh, that photo is
Nothing
one of
wrong with
my
that.
favorite photos. 3 megapixel camera.
That's about the limit of the internet anyway, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because anything we submit is only about a megapixel and a half.
But it tells you that those old cameras were very capable. Well, anyway, anything else, Mr. Roy?
No, I don't think of.
Well, keep your ears to the ground and see whether you hear more about new cameras coming, since you have some connections there and you were able to
Yeah,
touch.
I hear lots of new stuff, but most of it's lies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's probably a lot of NDAs, so you got to make up more lies to cover them.
Exactly. Randall?
Well, I've noticed that a lot of these tech, YouTube channels, they have a tech in them. They're basically showing videos that you see on other channels. So they're taking that subject, adding AI, and then they're talking, the new Z90 or the Z52 or whatever.
Okay.
Most of them are not real, but there's some few that know that's coming out. So the Panasonic S1R2 is supposed to be coming out shortly. I do, I hear rumors of the Z7 III and the Z90 and the was it the Z9 II? It's crazy, and I still think the Z9 is excellent. I picked up the DF, the D610. They're still great cameras. The D500 is a great camera, but I also have the Z52, the Z6 III, the Z8. And the ZFC and the what is it? The ZF and the Z52. But besides the Canon and Sony cameras that I have, sometimes I would rather go for a lens because you date the cameras, but you're married to the lenses. So cameras will come and go, but lenses will stay. And what I like doing is, like Albert does, getting adapters where he can use the lenses on multiple camera systems. And that's what I'm interested in. So I did a video on the adapter from Photoseed, which uses the FD film camera lenses, and it'll work on the RF camera systems. the mirrorless systems. So I like gadgets like that. It saves money. You put adapters on and utilize the lenses on different cameras. And I don't know. I like trying new things, make it interesting. I also like little bitty small cameras. They may not be good for video, but they're still good at taking pictures.
Oh,
And it could be like, what, 10 megapixels on up, whatever. They're still great. So, like before in the comments, the individual said, hey, is 12 megapixels good enough? I says, yeah, it's good enough. There's some 6 megapixel cameras that are still good too. So it just depends on your composition. Take the shot and enjoy it.
yes. No, you can do quite a bit with. Obviously, we do like the 45 megapixels. So anyway, Randall, you keep working on your film and digital comparison. That will be very interesting. So we'll
I
have.
hope I get it this week. I was shocked. I was hoping 2 days. That's what they promised, but I checked the wrong one, and it turned out to be 10 days. So
All right. Don't worry, we got time. So for me here, Chuck, before I hand it back to you to say bye bye. Um, I have another presentation in the pipeline for remote shooting using wildlife for wildlife photography and wide angle shooting, correct?
Mhm.
So I have that one. I know there are some people here, Squarasi do some of that. So it complement some of the stuff that you can do. And I bought some equipment. I can show a couple of photos of that. But we do that in March. So that's from me. And I see you guys next week in the photo review.
All right.
And Chuck, you say hello here. Bye bye.
I'll say good luck.
Okay.
Yeah, Chuck,
one that says good night.
that looks like a Montreal Canadiens T-shirt that you got on there.
No, it's Champlin, something like that.
Anyway, yeah, I figured you'd be just cheering for our hockey teams rather than yours.
Yeah, dude.
Yours aren't doing as well as ours.
Go Flames! We'll never win, but go Flames!
All right.
All right. See you guys. See you next week.
Yeah. See you next
Bye,
week.
everyone.